Have you ever looked at two people who are exactly the same age and wondered how can they look 10 years apart? Same age, same number of birthdays that they've celebrated, but one person has relatively smooth, firm-looking skin, while the other has deeper wrinkles and even pigmentation. Their skin is sagging, or a skin that simply looks older. You might immediately blame genetics, and genetics certainly matter. But your face doesn't age according to your birthday alone. Every day, your skin is exposed to things that can accelerate visible aging. You talk about sunlight, talk about smoking, talk about poor sleep, especially if you work in an urban place where you are struggling with traffic, excessive alcohol intake, your diet, and even the way your body handles blood sugar. And some of these factors slowly damage collagen. Others may increase what we call oxidative stress, and some may affect your skin's ability to repair itself. And one of them is responsible for a surprisingly large proportion of what we call premature skin aging. And the interesting thing is you can actually do something about many of these factors. So today, let's look at 7 reasons your face may be aging faster than you. And so let's start with the big one, that is the sun. When sunlight reaches your skin, you're exposed to what we call ultraviolet radiation. And there are 2 types particularly that are relevant. We have what we call ultraviolet radiation A and ultraviolet radiation B. Now, UVB is strongly associated with sunburn and contributes to skin cancer. UVA, on the other side, it penetrates more deeply into the skin and contributes significantly to what we call photoaging. And here's what makes this interesting. You don't need to get visibly sunburned for UV exposure to affect your skin. Imagine collagen fibers underneath your skin as the supporting beams underneath a building. Now, ultraviolet radiation, it contributes to processes that damage that support structure. And over years, collagen becomes fragmented. The elastic fibers, they change, and pigmentation becomes uneven. And eventually, you may notice fine lines beginning to form. You may notice wrinkles. You may notice dark spots on your skin. You may notice rough texture and also loss of firmness. And of course, skin sagging. And this is called photoaging. I know you might have come across this term, and it can happen gradually enough that you don't notice it happening. You simply look at an old photograph one day and you think, when did my skin change this much? It wasn't one afternoon that you spent outside. It was years of accumulated exposure that led you to that particular point. And this isn't only an issue for people with lighter skin. Melanin provides some natural protection, of course, against ultraviolet radiation, which means darker skin may show certain signs of photoaging differently or even later on in life. But darker skin can still experience UV damage. It can experience hyperpigmentation and, of course, skin cancer. So regardless of skin tone, sun protection matters, and it does so greatly. Here's another major accelerator of skin aging, and that is smoking. Most people associate cigarettes with lung cancer for known reasons. They associate cigarette smoking with heart diseases, with stroke, and of course, chronic lung disease. But your skin isn't spared if you're a smoker. Cigarette smoke exposes the body to thousands of chemicals, and it promotes oxidative stress. Smoking is also associated with changes in collagen and elastin, and over time, smokers tend to develop more pronounced facial wrinkles or wrinkling than non-smokers. And there is another issue. Nicotine causes blood vessels to constrict. That means reduced blood flow to tissues. Your skin depends on good circulation for oxygen and nutrients. So imagine repeatedly exposing your skin to oxidative stress while also reducing its blood supply. That's not exactly a recipe for a youthful looking skin. If you are spending significant amounts of money on skincare products while smoking, the most powerful anti-aging decision probably isn't another serum. It's quitting smoking. If you've watched the previous videos in this series, you already know this word, glycation. You can check my previous video. When sugars react with proteins in your body, they can eventually form compounds known as advanced glycation end products. And collagen is particularly interesting because it is a long-lived protein. And over time, glycation can create crosslinks between collagen fibers. Think about healthy collagen like flexible springs underneath your skin. Now, imagine those springs gradually becoming stiffer. They don't behave quite the same way anymore. Now, this doesn't mean eating a piece of cake gives you wrinkles. It doesn't mean that. And it certainly doesn't mean fruit is aging you. The concern is the overall pattern, particularly excessive free sugar intake and persistently elevated blood glucose. And this becomes even more relevant in people with poorly controlled diabetes. But sugar is only one part of the picture because something else you do every night may be showing up on your face. We've almost turned sleep deprivation into a badge of honor. You've heard statements such as, I only slept 4 hours, or I've been working all night, or I'll sleep when I'm successful. Now, your body may disagree with those statements. Sleep is an important period for biological recovery and regulation, and your skin participates in that particular process. Poor sleep can affect the skin barrier. Stress can affect also hormones, can affect recovery. Even after one bad night, you probably recognize the appearance. There'll be dark circles, there'll be puffy eyes, there'll be dull looking skin, but we are more interested in what happens when poor sleep becomes chronic. Researchers, and I want you to pay attention, researchers have found associations between poor sleep quality and increased signs of intrinsic skin aging, although sleep is only one of the many contributing factors, and there is an indirect pathway as well. When you are chronically sleep deprived, your appetite regulation tend to change, or it changes, and you may crave more calorie-dense foods. You are less likely to exercise when you are sleep deprived. Your stress increases. Your insulin sensitivity may also worsen. So sleep doesn't exist in isolation. It interacts with almost everything else we are discussing. So what do you need to do? Aim for roughly 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep for most of the days of the week, not because sleep is a beauty treatment, but because sleep is biology. Let's talk about alcohol. People sometimes say alcohol dehydrates your skin. That is what people say. And that's partly true, but the story is more complicated. Alcohol can increase urine production, particularly at higher doses, which may contribute to dehydration. It can also affect sleep quality, and chronic excessive alcohol consumption can contribute to nutritional deficiencies and inflammation. For some people, alcohol also causes facial flushing because it dilates blood vessels, and in certain individuals, they can be particularly sensitive to this effect. Occasional alcohol consumption isn't going to suddenly age your face. Again, we are talking about patterns, but frequent heavy drinking, it can affect both your appearance and your overall health. And if you are drinking alcohol late at night, then sleeping poorly, then waking up dehydrated, then consuming sugary foods because you're tired or you are so tired to prepare a full meal, you can see how these behaviors begin connecting to each other. Health problems, they rarely travel alone. People love looking for one magical food that keeps you young. Talk about blueberries, you've heard about avocados, you've heard about collagen drinks, you've heard about green tea. Somebody somewhere will eventually sell you the anti-aging superfood, quote unquote. But healthy skin doesn't depend on one ingredient. Your body needs adequate nutrition to build and maintain tissues. It needs adequate nutrition, and that includes protein. It includes essential fatty acids. It includes vitamins. It includes minerals. It includes numerous plant compounds that you need to incorporate in your meals. For example, vitamin C is necessary for normal collagen synthesis, but that doesn't mean swallowing enormous doses of vitamin C will suddenly remove wrinkles. If you are deficient, correcting the deficiency matters. If you are already consuming enough, taking massive amounts doesn't transform you into your 20-year-old self. The more useful strategy is boring, but it tends to be effective, and that is eating plenty of vegetables, eating whole fruits, eating legumes, eating whole grains, eating nuts, eating seeds, and adequate protein intake, and of course healthy sources of fat. The goal isn't an anti-aging food. That is not the goal. The goal is an anti-aging dietary pattern. Now, let's talk about something you cannot photograph easily, and that is stress. Now, a short period of stress is normal. Your body is designed to respond to challenges, but chronic stress means your stress response systems remain activated repeatedly. Cortisol is one of the hormones that is involved in stress, and persistently high stress can affect your sleep, can affect your appetite, can affect your blood pressure, can affect your blood glucose, and of course your behavior. And you might exercise less, you eat differently, you drink more alcohol, or you smoke more when you're stressed, or you sleep badly. All of which can indirectly influence skin health. There is also research exploring how psychological stress may affect skin barrier function and inflammatory processes. So when someone looks exhausted after months of stress, sometimes they literally are exhausted. Your skin doesn't exist separately from the rest of your body. Your mental well-being matters as well. Here is where things become slightly chronic. People spend enormous amounts of money trying to reverse skin aging while ignoring the behaviors accelerating skin aging. So they end up buying expensive creams, they end up buying serums, they end up buying anti-aging supplements, or even masks or facial treatments. And sometimes those products or treatments have evidence behind them. Sometimes I'm not saying skincare is useless. That is not what I'm communicating. But imagine spending hundreds of dollars on skincare while you are still smoking, while you are still sleeping 5 hours in a night, or you are never using sun protection, or you are drinking heavily and consuming poor diet. That's like constantly repainting a house while ignoring a leaking roof. The outside matters, but you also have to address what's causing the damage in the first place. If you want to protect your skin as you age, start with the fundamentals. Number one, protect yourself from excessive UV exposure. Use shades, protective clothing, and an appropriate broad spectrum sunscreen when needed. And this is one of the most evidence-based things you can do to reduce photoaging. Number two, don't smoke. If you currently smoke, quitting benefits far more than your appearance. Your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, and cancer risk matter much more. Number three, get adequate sleep. And by this I mean you aim for approximately 7 to 9 hours for if you're an adult, and that will be adequate. Number four, eat a balanced diet. Don't chase magical anti-aging foods. Build a healthy dietary pattern, and that will help you. Number five, reduce excessive free sugar intake, especially sugar beverages and foods where it's incredibly easy to consume large quantities. Number 6, stay physically active. And by this I mean exercise, which will support cardiovascular and metabolic health, which ultimately supports the entire body, including your skin. Number 7, manage chronic stress. Do some exercises, connect socially, spend time outdoors, engage yourself in prayer, in meditation, and counseling when necessary. This is where I want to be careful. You cannot stop aging, and aging isn't a disease. You are supposed to get older. It's just the normal biological process, and that's part of being alive. But there is a difference between normal aging and what we call avoidable premature damage. There's a difference between the two. You can't change your chronological age. You can't change your genetics. You can't do anything about it. And you cannot completely avoid environmental exposure. But you can influence many of the behaviors that affect how your body ages. And here's the interesting thing about all this. Most of the habits that protect your skin also protect your heart. They protect your brain. They protect your blood vessels. They protect your kidneys and your metabolic health, most of the habits. So the goal isn't simply, how do I look younger? That is not the goal. A much better question that you should ask yourself is, how do I age healthier? Because looking younger means very little if the body underneath isn't healthy. So why might your face be aging faster than you are? It probably isn't one thing. It could be years of ultraviolet exposure, or years of smoking, or years of excessive free sugar intake, or poor sleep, or heavy alcohol consumption, or poor nutrition, or chronic stress. Now, if you put all this together, likely to have a combination of several factors that could be affecting the rate at which your skin is aging. Your face is exposed to the world every single day, and some of the choices you make today may not become visible for years, and that's what makes prevention so important. Don't wait until you are 50 to start protecting the skin you will have at 50. And don't become obsessed with trying to look 25 forever. Aging is normal. The goal is to arrive at every stage of life as healthy as possible. Now I want you to answer one question. Of the 7 things we have discussed today in this video, which one do you think is aging you the most? Is it sun exposure? Is it poor sleep? Is it excessive free sugar intake? Or is it stress, chronic stress that is? Is it smoking? Is it alcohol intake? Or is it your diet? Tell me in the comment section, and send this video to someone who owns 10 different skincare products. You know them, but they sleep 4 hours every night, or their diet is poor. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Health Desk with Dr. Libea Bethwell for evidence-based health conversations without the hype. And in the next video, we are going to investigate another popular claim, and that is the 7 foods that may be aging you faster than you know it. And some of the foods people blame are innocent, and some of the biggest problems aren't the foods you'll expect. I'm Dr. Libea Bethwell, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.